Who are you being compared to? I had this thought when I woke up this morning, and I was thinking about who I've been compared to and things that men have said to me, and then what I've heard a lot of men say and post about themselves. And so, what I commonly hear and what I commonly see, out in the world and on social media is a man will say to a woman, hey, you need to humble yourself. You need to settle. You need to lower your standards because you're not 25 anymore. You're not 18 anymore. You have a kid or you have an ex or, you have baggage or whatever. So in his mind, the ideal woman is 18 to 25. She's a virgin. She has no kids. She has no exes. And she is, I guess you could say, completely untouched, untainted by the world, by society, by life. So that is the perfect, in a sense, the ideal woman. But when he compares himself, he'll say something like, I'm a good man. I mean, I don't cheat. I don't beat women. I don't, call women out their name. I'm not a criminal. So he's comparing a woman to the ideal woman, but he's comparing himself to the bad guy, the completely undesirable, bottom of the barrel, dangerous man that most people would say, hey, nobody would want to be with someone who has all of those qualities. So by his standards, he's always going to come out looking great. And she likely is going to come out not looking so hot and not being able to have the standards that she wants to have. But he can have whatever standards he wants to have because he's not that bottom of the barrel. But he's not comparing her to the bottom of the barrel. He's comparing her to the cream of the crop. And so, when I thought about this, I was thinking, my gosh, I have never actually heard somebody say that. I've never actually heard them say this rigged game of how, these comparisons are so skewed. And I also wanted to bring up how I think that actually backfires against men. And it may actually work for women because so many times we have been conditioned to think about the things we don't have. And so a lot of women are constantly trying to evolve themselves and make the best of what they do have. They have a brain, they have skills, they have talents, they have abilities, they have discipline. So they want to educate themselves. They want to, develop their skill set, their communication skills. They want to go to therapy so they don't have, quote, drama and baggage. They want to optimize everything that they have inside of them and in their lives to make themselves the best package they can because partially they want to be the best they can. And also they know that the bar for them is very high. But the bar being low for men can actually work against them because there are a lot of men who think, I don't have to improve myself. I don't have to strive. I don't have to do self-development. I don't have to go to therapy. I don't have to do any of this stuff. And now they become angry because there's so much entitlement in the way that they have thought about themselves when they're comparing themselves to the worst of the worst, that they can't believe that a woman would turn them down. Because in their minds, she should be comparing them to the worst of the worst as well. And a lot of women are no longer comparing men to the worst of the worst because they're not even thinking about dating the worst of the worst. That's not even an option. So they're comparing men often to themselves, to the woman herself. She's saying, I've done this work on myself. I've done this, all of this to get myself to a certain point. I have this education, I have these values, I have these standards, I have these expectations. I want my match, not even somebody better than me often, but just my equal. And because he's been comparing himself to the worst of the worst, often he's not her equal in the things that she has accomplished, in the skill set that she has developed, in the emotional regulation that she has, and the maturity that she has. I think that that's very fascinating. And I think that it's one reason why we're in the dating situation we're in. And I think it's why a lot of people are decentering men. And a lot of people are realizing that patriarchy is working against men and women because it's putting them in these situations where, you know, the deck is stacked, the game is rigged, and it's very interesting how women are pulling ahead and women are surpassing men in so many areas, and this may be one of those reasons why, because of the way that men have thought and the way men have compared themselves to the bottom of the bottom, and they've compared women to the cream of the crop. Just some food for thought. I'd love to know what you think about that. May you walk in Synergy. Who are you being compared to? I had this thought when I woke up